All right, so
I have to give you a little bit of credit for this.
Yeah, we can overdub it later. Just
had any crazy stories about? Oh wait, no, I do. I got robbed at gunpoint, mugged.
Checking for me, but I ain't checking for them. No.
It's sleazy real estate guys, but
All right, so today we're joined by a dedicated real estate professional with over a decade of experience, countless awards, and a commitment to giving back. From his inspiring journey in real estate to his community work with MS patients, his story is one you won't want to miss. With us is Shane Pezick.
Hello.
Shane, how are you, brother?
I'm good, man. Grateful
Good
to
to
be
see
on
you.
here. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you.
So-
Appreciate you guys.
As you guys can see from the camera, we're in a different setting. We're actually at Shane's home right now. We were very open to, he showed us a picture of what it looked like, and we're like, we totally got to do it at your place. So we're doing that now, and
Thank you.
we're gonna have a
Appreciate
good
you guys
time
coming here. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, so Shane, we're going to go into a lot of things about your journey, where it started and what it's led to today, because there's a lot of stories to share at that point, I'm sure. Does that sound all right?
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm excited for it, man. I hope you guys are interested.
Arthur's with us today for the first interview and conversation with one of our guests for the first time ever, I think, right?
That'd
be correct. Yeah, he's never co-hosted for one of these
I
before.
knew we
so
clicked, Arthur.
we have a lot of things happening at once. So, yeah, without further ado, we will get going. But before we do that, if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, and turn on a notification bell for episodes to come in the near future. So, Shane,
Yes, sir.
start us with where you were born.
Where I was born. Okay, so I'm from Wilmington, Delaware. Still in Wilmington, Delaware. Was born in Wilmington, Delaware. So it's a place that's very close to my heart, and where I built my business.
Okay. So, you've been in Wilmington your entire life.
Yes, I did go to college for 4 years in Virginia. Yeah.
4 years in Virginia,
Mhm.
and we're going to dive into your college days a little bit too, but let's take it back to your high school days,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
High school you attended.
Salesiana
Okay, so Sally's.
with
So,
Arthur.
for those that don't know, our co-host is actually from Sally's himself. He will be the first to tell you, like, you ever met like someone in CrossFit or someone that does Weight Watchers? They won't go 5 minutes without mentioning that they went to Sally's. I don't know if you're like that, but Arthur has
100%.
joked around. There's a lot of Sally's pride, and there's a lot of evidence backing to why. So no surprise there. So tell us about, first off, why Sally's?
Why? I mean, Sally's was just the path that was given to me because I was lucky enough to have great parents that wanted to send me there. But specifically for me, I grew up with the same group of friends from kindergarten all through Sally's. So if all those guys were going to Sally's and we were playing sports together before Sally's, I wanted to continue doing that, and they had the good academic reputation that I thought I needed to take the next step into college and all that. So if my parents were willing to pay for it and send me there, then I was all for it. You know what I mean? I also was not a ladies' man, so the all guys school was okay.
Okay.
You know?
So, all guys school, Sally's. What I've heard. So, I went to public school over in Pike Creek at John Dickinson, but I've always heard great things about Sally's, and one of them, which was different to me, was that it was an old gentleman's school.
Mhm.
So, how?
Loosely, gentlemen.
Okay. So, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by loosely, gentlemen?
That is a fabricated term they like to market.
Okay.
Salesian gentlemen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, tell us about your Sally's day, man. What was that like?
I mean, I was super fortunate to go into Sally's with a good group of friends that we kind of all played sports and had an excuse to get to know other guys. You know what I mean? So I naturally, my brother was a senior when I was a freshman, so I knew some of those seniors. They kind of welcomed me in without making me feel new and young in school. So I was a little spoiled there.
Okay.
I had some friends that had brothers in the grade right above us, so then there was that connection there. And the kids that could drive before freshmen could drive were picking me up. So
Okay.
very fortunate there.
Okay.
Yeah, and we were all about sports back in the day.
Arthur, what you had your days in Sally's, right? And you guys graduated to different times, I suppose. Anything in particular you'd like to know about his time in Sally's, and maybe we could compare and contrast about your guys' time in Sally's.
Well, I don't know how the school was going through a major renovation that was going on for at least 10 years. So I don't know how far the school was through with the renovation when you were there.
Which renovation? The sports facility one?
There was the sports facility. There was the arts wing.
Oh, right. The science.
And then there was the science center.
So we were I was after the science center, which was cool, but nobody was excited about because it was a science center. The arts wing was after
the
me.
Science center had the air conditioning, so that was the biggest selling point about that. Is there was a section of the school that was completely air conditioned.
Yes. But the that DNA molecule, my first year there, somebody climbed up it. It was a 3-story like statue or like a. I don't even know what you go like a installation. Like an art installation of a DNA molecule, and this kid's climbing it like a ladder. I'm like, dude, they just spend millions.
Did he like lose a bet or something? Or?
I don't know, man. But like,
okay,
I was supposed to be at a prestigious, well-behaved school, and this kid's climbing the DNA section.
Okay,
that's what I mean by gentleman. It's a loose term.
Oh, okay, I see. Well, being a loosely being a gentleman, would you agree with that? How was it, Sally's, or were you? In comparison to what he's saying, very, form up and not doing anything. You should climbing up DNA statues.
Well, that was very rare. Don't get me wrong. Like it was definitely, they were strict. They had us well behaved and well disciplined.
Right.
But not everyone was a Salesian gentleman,
Yeah, and that's not that we're not. By the way, we're talking about the students. We're not talking about the institution. I don't want
nothing but love for the institution. I'm partnered with the internship program right now, which is super cool, and what they're doing for their students right now is impeccable. So I have nothing but great things to say about Sally's. I'm just joking around.
Yeah, so I want to dive into the DNA of who you were as a high school student in Sally's. What kind of person were you? Were you like the guy that was like, just like, because it sounds like because it's an old guys school, there's probably like a lot of brotherhood stuff happening. All the guys are always together. Were you in that sense of the group, the more of the leader, the more in the middle, or the more just going where everybody was going? Who were you in that sense, or was there like an equally weighted thing happening?
I considered myself a leader in the classroom, and I'm not going to say a follower, but I went where the wind took me when it came to socializing. So it was a unique dynamic for me. I was very into my studies. I had straight A's. I graduated with a 4.1.
Okay.
I was in APs and phase 4s, yet my group of friends were not necessarily the phase 4 guys. And our senior year, a lot of our parents used to let us host parties. We used to all get together, drink, and have that type of fun. But I was also very into my studies and had the 4.0. So and I also played football and was weightlifting, so I was into that.
So wow,
the athlete crew. But I took my studies very seriously.
It sounded like you were a pretty well-rounded student overall. You had the social thing going on, you had the academic thing going on, and then even the stuff happening outside of school, the school itself, like the partying and all that kind of stuff. You typically find, especially the sports bars too, you typically find that in schools, there's typically the Chad that's in the football team that does really shit at academics, or the other way around, where it's the nerd that can do a push up to save his life, or like. But you sounds like you had a pretty good flow going.
Yeah.
How did you manage to do that?
Well, at Sally's, it's not cliques as much. It's more of groups, and you can float in and out of any group you want at any time. And there's no hostility and there's no rejection. If you want to join something else or be part of another group, you're open with welcome arms. And if you choose to do something else, you're welcome to do that too.
Right. But what I want to know is that Shane, he had it down. He had it down. He was partying, doing his thing, but he was also a 4.1. GPA student. I was partying and doing my thing, and I was like a 2.5. So I went wrong somewhere. So how did you balance that as well as you did?
So I will say that my doing homework every night is what made me successful in high school and what makes me successful now. So
Okay.
I definitely had you come home from school and you get to work again. And that mentality was never changed, even if I was partying on the weekend. You know what I mean? So I wasn't irresponsibly partying and everything. I just, we had the outlets to do that. So when I wasn't doing homework, but no, Monday through Thursday, I was doing homework till 11:30 studying, but I thought that's what I needed to do to take the next step in life.
Okay.
I was just brainwashed to think if I don't do my homework and get a 4.0, I might not get into the best college and I might not have a successful career and have a nice backyard to host podcasts.
There you go.
You know what I mean? But turns out it was the habits that I was forming that was the most beneficial for me.
Okay, I definitely want to dive into that more. But another thing that sparked my curiosity, you mentioned that Monday through Thursday was just school and homework. But walk me through a Friday with you. What did that look like for you?
In high school?
Yeah.
Wow. This is a great time.
Yeah?
Fridays in high school were the best. So, actually, let me ask, what year of high school?
Well, if I say senior,
drastically from senior.
Well, let's talk about junior year.
Okay.
Let's talk about junior year.
So, get out of school and gotta go right to football practice, obviously. So in the fall, obviously. So you get done football practice around 5:30. Typically, the guys you're hanging out with are talking about the plans by the end of practice, probably before practice even started. Somebody's talking about the girl they think they're going to hang out with. It's not going to answer their call later. But yeah, we typically go home, get showered. There was a few guys that, because of the parent situation, that was the go-to house to go to before we went out. We'd usually have about 8 guys meet up there, just kind of figuring out what's going on, talking to other groups of people to see where we could meet up. Usually end up meeting in a parking lot somewhere and not doing much, but just talking about all the stuff you could be doing.
Yeah.
If there was a party we could go to, but there's no parties because it's so lame around here in Delaware.
Okay.
But
really? Not even house parties?
no, there were. We just weren't invited, so we were
being in a football team?
Junior year, I'm just saying. The typical Friday, I'm not going to front. We didn't have a lot of options.
Okay.
If there was a party going on, we all talked about it for 4 weeks before.
Yeah.
Senior year was different. So,
Tell us about that.
Senior year, our group of friends, our parents just kind of let us hang out there all night, you know?
Yeah.
So it was much easier to say, hey, where are we going to end up? Where can we invite everyone else to? Where can we meet up with everybody? And we kind of just rotated from house to house doing the same thing every Friday.
Yeah. All right. So what year did you graduate?
2010.
2010. So it sounded like you had a pretty good high school experience overall. You were balanced in your social activities, your academic activities, sports. So you had a good experience of what all that was like. Tell me about your transition into college.
So in college, I went to Virginia Tech, and only one person from Sally's was going there. I wasn't really that good of friends with that guy, but so I basically went in not knowing anybody.
Yeah.
And wanted to experience how that was, get out of my comfort zone. I was well prepared from an academic standpoint. I felt like socially, I was definitely prepared, but being outside of my comfort zone is definitely something I wasn't prepared for. I had that same group of friends from kindergarten all the way through Sally, so to not have all those guys at every party with me was a little different. You know what I mean?
And why Virginia Tech?
I thought I wanted to go to school and be an architect, and it had a good program there, so I applied to a few programs. My dad did go to Virginia Tech, so there was an influence there.
Okay.
There was Division I football, which was something I wanted to experience, those big football games.
Did you play any football while you were there?
No, not at Virginia Tech, but it sounds I do.
Okay. So Virginia Tech, you did your time there. You graduated there, or what was your time there like? Did you finish there or what?
I did not. So I was there In my sophomore year, I was on a ski trip and I broke my neck, actually.
Oh my God. I didn't realize this was during college. I know we talked about it off camera a little bit, but
yeah. So
what year in college?
my sophomore
year?
January of my sophomore year.
Okay.
So I'm like 3 semesters into school.
Yeah.
So it was my winter break, so I just never went back after that.
Okay.
I got into a couple different things, ended up in real estate, but I finished my college years in Newark studying real estate.
Okay.
But my first 3 semesters were at Virginia Tech. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now, do you mind if we jump into your accident a little bit?
No.
So walk us through, the trip. You said you were skiing. You said you were. So is this like a thing you did with your guys, or like what was it?
So it was just one of my buddies and I. I mean, we had been skiing for years, and it's just something we always used to do. He didn't do the terrain park, so it was weird. We went in for lunch. He was like, all right, I'm just going to have a couple beers and finish up. And I was like, all right, I want to go back out and do the terrain park. But it was after lunch, after the beer. And I thought that I could have the same energy to do what I could do before my first run. You know what I mean? So the overconfidence was the root of my mistake. But the day I had that accident, I had gotten a new board. Like, it was the first day I was snowboarding with the new board.
Yeah.
And it was made a lot different. It was a lot more flexible. So when you go off the jumps, before, when I had a stiffer board called a camber board, I had to pop my front foot a lot and to not nosedive. But with this rocker board, they call it, you don't have to do that. And I wasn't aware. So I was going very, very fast, going off the biggest jump, doing it like I had used to done it. And I just launched very, very off key and did not go well. But honestly, like when that happened and I'm laying there on the mountain and I can't move, I came down on my neck, broke my neck, couldn't move instantly. I'm watching guys land over.
Yeah.
There was just something that happened mentally that has given me the best gifts, and
Really?
it was the best thing that's ever happened, for sure.
Really? Okay. So you ended up with a broken neck, right? So excuse my ignorance here. So having a broken neck, like, what did that do to you? Like, were you out of were you still able to like walk around normally, or like after recovering or rehab, or what was that like?
So for about instantly, I couldn't do anything besides like blink my eyes and like shrug my shoulders. That's all I could do. So you're in a hospital bed though most of the time. You know what I mean, getting fed and everything like that.
Yeah.
So gradually over the time of 6 months, I went from not being able to move at all to then being able to walk on my own with struggle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of back on your own feet, living your own life, and not being fed like a baby.
So talk to me about the 6 months, the initial 6 months, because I feel like those are really character defining moments.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So there's the biggest thing for me during those 6 months were these milestones. So my brother's in physical therapy and athletic training, and he was always sending me these statistics. Like, if you can take this many steps in your first 6 days, you have this much percentage chance of getting 100% better. And it was at the time of my life where I was still competitive and in athletics and stuff like that. So like, when you send me something like that and it's like, okay, this is going to define my outcome of this, I looked at it as a challenge, and I was very blessed to still be that young age that I had that extra kick of competitiveness in me. You know what I mean? So like those 6 months were terrible, but I grew up with a dad in a wheelchair.
Okay.
So there was less I'm the victim mentality and more like, this guy's been doing it for years. I can do it for 6 months and get back on my feet.
What was going on in your mind in terms of life, right? Because in college, when you're going into high school, you said it was instilled in you to do this, that, and the other, and then you go to college, and in college, you're pursuing your career. But then something life changing, like the accident you had happened, and then as you said, it did something to you mentally. What were you thinking in that time? Like, what was going through your head?
To be honest, the I don't know if it's a good thought, but I didn't want to miss the memories that I had that I was going to continue to make with all of the people that I had in my life. Like I had so much going on from like all these new friends at college and turning 21, being around all these guys. So it was just I didn't want to miss out on the life experiences that I always look forward to. And you know, in high school, you always look forward to your 20s and the stories that my dad used to tell me about him and his buddies. So my biggest fear was that I missed all of that. And 20 years old was my peak, and I'm in a wheelchair from then on out. And I was just destined to live a normal life. That's what I wanted to do.
There you go.
Yeah.
So now, you know, I met you years after that. Now we're in 2024. I would have never known had you told us otherwise when we first met. You know, looking back now, you mentioned that it was one of like the biggest life-changing moment for you in terms of outlook and just mindset and everything.
Look at sum that up into why.
Yeah,
because I think it will be helpful for people.
Yeah,
but I think anybody can take this mindset for something they've been through. But I looked at that as this is the worst thing I'm ever gonna have to go through. If I can get through not being able to walk again, there's nothing that can knock me after this. Like whether I get fired or laid off or end up in a relationship that's not so good or getting divorced or losing someone to death, you know what I mean? Like if I've gone through this and I came out with a positive outcome, like I can get through anything in life. And that type of confidence, you can apply that to any lesson anybody's learned. That type of confidence is freedom, in my opinion.
Okay. So you said after that you had a career change. You were still in Newark at that point. You were in Newark at that point, and you decided to go into real estate. So of all things, you mentioned there was a few things you got into beforehand. Before, is there anything in particular you could talk about that you tried before real estate?
So nothing significant enough to talk to, but I was in the electrician's union.
Okay.
The electrician's union I was in for like 6 months. But that was more because it was like a scramble to make a productive move, not the one I wanted to make. You know what I mean?
Just to get like the engine running.
Right. Like, all right, I'm back healthy. I can't just sit here and not do nothing. You know what I mean? I got to get into something. If I don't go back to school, let me just get into this.
Right.
I was getting into like the estimating side of it.
Yeah. So why didn't you go back to school?
I just didn't enjoy architecture, to be honest. Like I wasn't going to quit once I got there. I was going to see my major through and get the degree. Like, and I think breaking my neck was a blessing in disguise because I only had to pay for 3 semesters and it was just something that I didn't enjoy. And I probably would have got a job at a national firm and not been coming home to get a job. Probably would have been going across the country to a place where I didn't know everyone I grew up with. The people in my life are the most important thing. And that was one thing I definitely noticed when I broke my neck. It was like the only thing that was clicking and I was caring about was the experiences with the people in my life. It was not about my accolades or my success with grades. So,
okay.
I don't think I would have given that opportunity if I saw architecture all the way through.
And how did you end up going the real estate route?
To be honest, I heard a radio commercial.
A radio commercial.
Commercial about flipping houses without your own money. And I was like, that sounds awesome.
Okay.
So I used all of the money in my savings account to go to a seminar called Fortune Builders. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. But they got me with A&E's TV show, Flip This House. Than Merrill, he'll be there. It's his thing. And I was 21 years old, so I was like, all right, I want to get into the entrepreneurial aspect. I don't want to be an electrician. I don't want to go back to school and be an architect. So I went to this seminar, tried to dive in, and I quickly realized how difficult real estate investing, and you know this, Arthur, how difficult real estate investing can be when you're young, you don't have any money, you don't have any experience, you don't have any connections. So to be honest, it was that the failure of trying to be a real estate investor off of a radio commercial in one seminar was what motivated me to get my license so I could make intelligent real estate moves and know what I'm doing.
So it sparked the thought.
To get my real estate license.
Right.
I would never have gotten the real estate license if it wasn't for that seminar.
Tell me about the seminar. Was a seminar selling you real estate, or was it selling you a product on how to real estate?
Oh, right. They were selling a course.
Okay.
And a community. And when they say a community, they mean a list of referrals they can give you if you bring them enough value or pay you them enough money. But like, to be honest, it was like you pay for the seminar and then you pay for the mastery class.
Yeah.
And then there was one more step that I didn't take. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I did like the 7 coaching courses that I paid a shitload of money for. I understand you need more resources.
Yeah.
To be a powerful aspect in this space. Let me go get more resources before I give them more money to tell me I need more resources.
Yeah, and these seminars are notorious for this kind of thing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So roughly how much money are you into it at that point when you decide to stop?
Oh, after the seminar?
After the seminar.
Like $7,000.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So
and I'm 20 years old. This is like my savings from summer jobs.
So 7,000 into how to real estate, or like any real estate at all?
No, 7,000 was the seminar and the 8 coaching classes.
Okay.
Like they're private coaching classes, but they're online.
Okay.
It's like somebody across the country that's not in your market.
Okay.
And they fooled me. I did not get the value that I paid for.
Okay.
Well, but it gave me. It's the only reason I got my real estate license.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For that reason, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So first, instead of finishing up college for $7,000 life lesson, they point you in the direction of, I need to go get certified in real estate myself and learn about it differently than what you're trying to explain to me. And then that turned into a career. So
exactly.
So yeah, I've had a similar experience, but not with real estate. But in terms of those seminars, we attended a seminar earlier this year, a real estate seminar, and it was very similar to that. And we knew that going into it, that's what it was going to be. But we took some friends that were not in real estate at all. And the only reason that I thought it was an idea to just attend, from my perspective, is because I hold events myself now. So I just want to see how the people do their events. Kind of like, if you're a restaurant owner, you go to other restaurants and check them out. But then, so, you never know who you're going to meet. And then on top of that is you're probably going to learn like a terminology or two. So there was like some learning. And so we encouraged a couple friends. Well, I encouraged a couple friends who had zero real estate experience just to go and check it out. Yeah. But also with the warning of, hey, they might try to sell you something at the end, which is what it turned out.
It was a free event. Yeah. So then they're all of a sudden putting all these great sales on the next step. And if you sign up right now, we're discounting by 50%.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
And the first 6 people show up, or the first 6 people to sign up are going to get all of this extra stuff now too.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So I had a similar experience in terms of where it kind of contributed to other things in the future, where I was in a Dell Tech at the time. I had seen a friend that I hadn't seen in a long time. It was one of those situations. Right. And they were in a business and that has a MLM model, multi-level marketing model. And while their whole thing is recruiting and stuff.
We don't want to say it.
Well, and while I did not get into it, ultimately, I did learn a lot. It did spark a lot of ideas with business. Like that's how I found out about Robert Kiyosaki and stuff like that. Like the Rich Dad Poor Dad guy, and just different things like that. So while I didn't spend any money on it, I'm also grateful for the things I got to learn, and it's like the mindset per se, right? Because as you were talking about your big experience that you had with your accident, was that you knew that once you were able to solve this, if it like worked through this, you were going to be able to work through anything else in life. So it like just built like a certain kind of mindset, right? So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where sometimes you come across things in life where it may not necessarily benefit you at that point in time directly, but indirectly down the road it might. Yeah. So you've been in real estate.
It's benefited me right now.
Yeah, there you go. So you were 21, right? You were 21 at the time when you went to the seminar, was it?
Yeah.
21. And how old are you now?
32.
You're 32.
Mm-hmm.
So you got introduced into real estate at 21. Now you're 32. You've been at it for over 10 years.
I might have been 20.
Okay.
But whatever.
So you've reached the 10-year mark.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about your initial experiences after you took the courses and everything.
Okay, with real estate.
Yeah.
So they teach you to go out and find your own investment opportunities. And then come to them to borrow the money so they can make all the profits. But anyway, I went, did what they taught me about going and finding your own deals, got turned down a lot, got shot down a lot. Realized in those times that, okay, I'm getting shot down because they want more money for their house than I'm offering them. There's a way that I can still sell their house and make a living off of the money I'm making. It's just being an agent. It's not being the guy that wants to flip the house, put it on the market and sell it that way.
Okay.
So I was quick to realize that, quick to get my license.
Okay.
And then, like, from the time I took the seminar in June. I signed up for my real estate class in September.
Okay.
So it was a quick realization.
Fast,
like, okay, I need more something. You know what I mean? So that was and then once you get your real estate license, there are so many people that want to help. And because of the structure of the industry and how brokerage is based on, brokerages are benefited if agents join them, no matter who the agent is, and they get a piece of their business no matter what. That everyone wants to recruit you and help you and tell you what to do.
So how long did it take you to go through your real estate course and you're as an agent and then pass through it and everything?
I started in September and I was licensed in January.
Okay.
It was like 3 nights a week, 3 hours a night.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So what were those early days like?
When I got licensed? Grueling sales calls and door knocking. It was terrible.
Okay.
It was the first 3 years of.
So you mean it didn't look like Selling Sunset on Netflix?
No, that is not real.
No, like Tom Ford suits.
No, and
pulling up in a Porsche.
Dude, the thing I hate most about those shows are they're showing the least important aspects of the business. Like, they act like the whole business is networking. No, real estate is lonely in the beginning. I mean, you are on your own, grinding, getting denied, talking to people that don't want to talk to you and that don't know you. That's what's happening.
Are you telling me what you're showing is you don't implement a Botox aspect to it?
I saw that episode with the brokers openers who did the Botox.
Have you heard of that? Yeah, this one girl, because where are they? In Silicon Valley? Is that where they are? In the show, I think?
To get people to show up to the open house.
Open house, yeah. It's
Botox.
like, there's like Botox with the
selling
show.
a house, not Botox.
Like, so you're not implementing that?
No.
Okay. Hey,
I haven't tried. It might be a successful campaign. I don't know. If somebody's doing that, I have no disrespect towards your strategy.
So early days, you were making a lot of calls and getting, I imagine, turned down a lot because that's just part of sales. Okay. What were some of the early lessons you learned in those early days?
One, have a short memory. Because sales, people that hate you yesterday can love you tomorrow if you solve their problem when they need you to solve their problem. People don't want to talk to you if they're not ready for their problem to be solved. Or if they even have a problem. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So don't take it personally if somebody, you know what I mean? Like, even somebody you've known forever, if you're like, hey, man, are you thinking about buying a house? Like, they don't give you the time of day.
Yeah.
When they're ready to buy a house, it's very delightful to hear from them. I don't hold a grudge, you know what I mean? So that was one lesson. Because at first you're like, well, you know me, we've talked before. Why wouldn't you want this help, kind of thing? But they're just not ready to.
And these calls you were making, was the brokerage providing you leads or stuff like that, or how did that work?
No, my first 3 years to this day, my whole business has been like self-generated
leads.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So they tell you, hey, if you list a house in the neighborhood, a popular way to get more business is to call all the other houses in the neighborhood and say, I just listed a house. Do you know anybody that's ready to move? Oh, by the way, are you looking to sell? And they give you a couple general ideas on how people have built businesses. But no, I went out and I did that. I held open houses. Everyone that walked through the door, I followed up with over time and time again.
Did you have on your earlier days like a certain number of calls you would try to make in a day?
We did. So we had like multiple line dialers, like live dialers, and it would track your time. And we had to record 15 hours of recorded call time. And 15 hours of call time is like 20 hours of like actually being there doing it.
Yeah.
It was that and 100 doors knocked every week.
Every week, 100 doors knocked. I don't
And
hear
15 hours of calls. It was terrible.
I don't hear much about real estate agents going door to door knocking. Is that? I mean, I'm not in the field, but I haven't heard any of that.
You have to find a neighborhood that doesn't have the no soliciting signs on it. And then you can get through the neighborhood fairly quickly because if they're not home, you can just leave a pamphlet on their doorstep.
Okay.
But I mean, that's one way to do it. You want to canvass an area.
So what is, I guess I'll start with asking, what is door knock? What does it actually qualify as door knocking? Like actually getting someone to open the door or just knock, no one answers and you dip out? Like what checks the box as one of the 100?
It's just literally knocking on the door. But you are waiting for someone to answer, and the goal is to have a conversation. You're not just dropping a pamphlet and leaving. But our door knocking strategy at the time was we're having an open house in the neighborhood. We're going to knock on the doors and invite everyone to the open house.
Yeah.
So that they saw how hard we were working for that seller. And then leeway that into, are you interested in selling, essentially? Or let me get your information and keep you updated on the neighborhood sales so you know when you want to sell what it will.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
just a lot of, we were trying to provide value from a.
That's a softer, nicer approach. I like that better than the people that go through the neighborhood trying to sell you windows and doors and roofs because they're trying to get to know you, be your best friend, ask you questions. What are your plans for the evening? Are you going on vacation? Like, wait a minute, I don't know you. Are you casing my house?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So tell me about who were you learning from at the time? Like, did you have any mentors at the time that you were working with?
Yeah, I did.
Tell us a little bit about that.
The name of the team I was on was the McKee team. And to this day, they're one of the top producing teams in the county. The gentleman named Mike McKee and his wife, Liz McKee, nothing but grateful for what they did for my career and startup. But he was a machine at door knocking and follow up. And he came from that sales background. And I will say this, my real estate career has gone so far from that. I am 100% referral. I don't enjoy that aspect of it. But to learn how he could generate so much business without knowing anybody was definitely what I needed to see at 20 years old. And my network wasn't buying houses yet. You know, that is the person in real estate I needed to learn from at that time because I didn't have another way of generating business or money to invest into leads like a lot of people do.
Right.
So it's referral. You can buy leads or you can dig it out of the dirt. Like,
did having access to someone like him help you also in terms of like connecting with specific people and like accessing leads easier?
Not necessarily.
What kind of mentor was he? Was he the one who would tell you? Because there's a mentor that holds your hand, and there's a mentor that tells you a couple things and then almost just throws you in the deep end.
More that.
Okay.
But he would tell me a couple things every Monday meeting. And for 2 years, so like there was a relationship there, and I really appreciated it. But his main lesson was work harder.
Work harder.
Do more calls, do more doors, and that's not sustainable to learn from. I'm trying to work smarter, not harder. You know what I mean? And I want to learn how to work smarter. So don't just tell me to knock on more doors. Let's figure out how to grow this exponentially and take an exponential growth here.
Working smarter, not harder. What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
In real estate?
Yes.
To simplify it the most possible, be on social media, not on the phones.
Okay.
Network with the tools that are being used by my network.
Okay.
My network is on social media. So I should network using social media.
Okay.
My network's not answering a landline. So I don't use a landline to network.
So you're talking about your demographic.
Correct. Yes. The people that are currently buying my client. My current clients are, it's not my age. My network is my neighbors too. My network is my dad's coworker. You know what I mean? My network. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Demographic is I guess you could say my demographic.
Okay.
But not from an age or anything like that.
Okay, so tell us about you're shared about your early days, and then at what point did you feel that your career was starting to pick up a little bit? When did you start feeling that momentum?
Probably 2018.
Uh-huh.
But I started my career in 2014.
Uh-huh.
Like I got licensed January 2014.
Mm-hmm.
2018, I made a lot of different efforts than I hadn't been making. And it was when I just left that team.
Yeah.
I was on that team for 2.5 years, and then I left them and went on my own. In 2018, I started making my own efforts. But after 2018, I never had to invest into marketing or leads or anything, and it's just been referral ever since.
So when you say you started making your own efforts, what do you mean? Like, what did you start doing differently?
So in 2018, all at the same time, I got a billboard for 6 months. I got an ad at the Jumbotron at the Blue Rock Stadium for that same time. I had my coasters in all of the restaurants along 202 where the billboard was, and at the riverfront where the Jumbotron was. At the same time, I volunteered with the politician that was running for county councilman in this area at that time. And it was a unique year because he was approving all of the projects that are currently happening on 202 with Avenue North with Deladon, the Concord with Buccini Poland, and then Brandywine Country Club with Capano. All of them were going under review with the county. And this guy had been the county councilman for 20 years prior to this election. So he had a lot of history and a lot of information to give, and the real estate community was really interested in that information that specific year. So it was happening in my area. I did that along with these other marketing methods. And nobody saw a Jumbotron at the stadium, and nobody drove by the billboard and cared about it, but they all saw it on social media. Like, I took 100 different angle pictures of that billboard and posted them once a week. And people were seeing it online, not driving by it. And they're just like, wow, you're young with a billboard. Wow, you're on a Jumbotron. It was the attention that it spurred. So I was listening to a lot of Grant Cardone at the time. And Grant Cardone's all about like the attention.
So who's Grant Cardone, for those that don't know?
A real estate mogul. Not an agent. He's a real estate investor and a coach and a sales coach. But Cardone University will make you richer than any college in the country. I'll say that.
You're telling me that you did Cardone University?
I've gone to some of the 10X seminars and done some of the courses, but I have not actually gone through Cardone University. Okay. He just has so much content. I can't consume it all. You know what I mean? But one of the things that I do listen and value from Grant was Grant said, don't take so much coaching on. Like, choose your few people because the coaching can become contradictory. And that was one thing that I did realize. And I took his methods and ran with them. And to be honest, if I sat down with Grant would be like, you don't impress me. If I was truly honest with him after following him and seeing what he does. But I do use the methods that he coaches to my extent. Yeah. And it's really beneficial to me.
What are some of the Cardone methods that you use that are key to your operation now? Give me 3.
It's all about the attention. Never stop bringing in attention. Like his big thing is like, you don't lose money. There's no way you do an investment and you lose money and think it's a win long term. Like, you just, if it's in the red, it's not a win. So like, however, if you're running and we talked about this the first time a little bit. But if your numbers are hopeful for a non-defined end, that is not, you win and lose in the buy. You don't win and lose in the end plan. Yeah. You win and lose when you purchase that property.
And give me one more.
Right. And then he's just that relentless guy that doesn't take no for an answer and has a short memory. So that was kind of already instilled by my original mentor. But he'll objection handler after objection handler. That's kind of how.
So 2018 came around. You got creative with branding yourself, and you received the value of that pivot indirectly through, word of mouth and social media.
And now business has just been, I've been very grateful that business has just been coming to me. My
So
phone has been
28
ringing.
that's 2018, and then now we're in 2024. What does that look like now?
You mean how much business I'm doing, or,
Yeah.
or how I'm getting that business?
Yeah, like is it like how different from 2018 is now in 2024, or have you built such a momentum now that it's just getting back to people at this point?
Yeah, I would say the real difference is I don't have to spend 50 grand in marketing every year.
Mm-hmm.
That business is still coming to me without me spending those marketing dollars, which is less risk for me, and it's always good. The idea of just being able to get back to everyone in a timely manner and maintain a quality service, and the logistics of that is what I work on every day, and the challenges. So it's not a matter of keeping the pipeline full. And I hope I don't jinx that by saying that, you know what I mean? But at this point, it is maintaining the quality of service so everyone gets the service that they were referred because of. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, so maintaining that quality customer service.
and like, don't get me wrong, I've gone through challenges of growth where I have so much on my plate that those people aren't getting as quality service as the people that I worked with 6 months prior because I wasn't as busy. You know what I mean? And I feel terrible in those situations, but we still get a good result. You know?
Yeah.
And they're still happy customers. They don't know that it wasn't as quality. You know? I mean, they don't know that I only checked the new listings 4 days that week instead of 7 because I was busy. You know what I mean?
So now 2024, business is booming per se. Per se. So
not compared to a lot of people, but for me personally, yes, I am doing better than 2024 than I have in any other year.
So in 2024, 2024 now, you got your license in 2014, you said.
Yep.
Right? Looking back, are you happy that you made the choice you made with real estate?
100%. I could not imagine life any other way.
What would you tell yourself in day one of real estate, looking back now?
To be honest, I would have said, do not model your goals after accolades and a reputation. Model your goals after what's going to be best for your family in your 30s. Because there's a competition for it's called 30 under 30 for real estate agents. It's like across the country. Realtor Magazine, National Association of Realtors. Everybody wants to be in 30 under 30.
Yeah.
And I was so obsessed with that I made moves that weren't the best for my after I turned 30 business. So I could get that attention, telling myself, well, Grant says the attention is the best. If I'm on the magazine, that's what I need in my business. But
so
I dedicated so much time to it, and I only made the final 50. Granted, I was like the only one from Delaware that made the final 50, and all my peers were impressed at the time for 30 days. And then they didn't care at all. So these guys doing way better than me now. Because they set themselves up correctly. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's what I would have told myself.
So model for longevity and not a momentary,
quick success.
Yeah. Interesting. Now, I think you briefly shared how we met, and we probably should have talked about this in the beginning. How we met was actually through our common friends. It's like I was door to door. I had to reach my 100 door quota by the end of the week about podcasting. Luckily enough, you answered the door. I was like one of those on the street guys that goes on the knocking the door. He's like, "Oh, do you have 5 minutes for a quick interview?" But
I used to hate my life just as much as this guy. I'll give him a bone.
So we met through our common friend Paul Dorsey, I met Paul Dorsey through Arthur. I want to say in 2018, maybe 2018.
Sounds about right.
Around there, 2018.
I met him.
Really?
It was during those. I had my coasters at the place I met Paul.
Yeah. So, was the Grotto's at 202.
Yes.
The Grotto's at 202. And funny enough, we just happened to set up lunch there.
Yeah.
Or for a couple, we only had a couple of drinks. It was like a dinner time. But yeah, how did you meet Paul again? What he tells us is you were just like a young man in there with your laptop, just working. How did that interaction happen?
So I mean, Paul makes it easy. I'll say that. If he sees somebody working grinding, he's very inquisitive and wants to talk my ear off. You know what I mean? But I would purposely do that in those bars that and restaurants that I had those coasters in. I would go set up my laptop and use that as my office for the evening. You know, I was single. I wasn't in a relationship. Didn't have kids, so I worked till 11:30 every night. If I wasn't. I don't need to be in a quiet atmosphere to work personally, so I can go be at a high top in the corner, and I'm fine. And people get inquisitive. They're like, "What are you doing? Why are you working so hard?
Yeah.
It's Tuesday at 11 p.m. Why? You know what I mean?" So that in itself generated business for me, and networking opportunities just like this. You know what I mean? Paul came over to my table and was like, "Dude, you're here every night working. What's going on?" I was like, "Yeah, why aren't you working, Paul? What are you doing?"
Yeah.
I
So
also didn't know he owned his own company and lives on 10 acres in Greenville. So,
no, Paul should come. Do you think Paul should come on the podcast?
yes, I think he's selfish for not.
Well, Paul, come on the
owes it to
podcast.
your constituents. Yeah. He should be on one. Absolutely.
So yeah, you met Paul through Grottos. Well, you were always working out of there, and then funny enough, that's where we ended up meeting. And what I want to know a little bit more is I think I in those conversations we were having back in Grottos, is it that you now have interns working for you?
I did a summer internship program with Salesiana.
Okay.
So it was not that I need the help. I don't have that much business that I need interns, but I wanted to get into the Salesianum conversation.
Okay.
When people at Sally's, faculty, kids, anybody, parents, think real estate, I want them to think Shane Pezick. So if I am the guy that offers an internship and education in the real estate space, which is not something that's taught at Sally's or a lot of high schools, people might remember my name later. And that's the goal.
Okay.
So I wanted to give these kids as good of an experience and as helpful as they could going into the college years of their life.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we had an amazing summer with these two employees that I had. Jeff and Connor, they were great. They learned a lot, I think. So I threw them into the ringer sometimes, and they handled it well.
In that kind of position, which is entirely different from your 2018 days, let alone 2014, where you're in the business. Now you're in a leadership position where you're teaching people the business.
Yep.
How do you become a proper teacher, if not mentor, to these young kids?
So I don't know if I have the full answer to that. I will say this. I'm learning as I go how to become a teacher. But learning through action, I think, is the best way, or teaching through action, I think, is the best way, because that's the way I learned when I was following that guy, Mike McKee, that I mentioned.
Yeah.
I just watched him grind. And his coaching sessions were once a week in a group session. But me watching his habits and the way he went about talking to clients was how I became successful. So I let these guys see every bit of the authenticity behind the real estate. I hope that helped. But to be honest, I'm still an individual agent. Like I don't have a team. I had a summer intern, but I don't have a team of agents that all turn to me for advice every day, like a lot of my peers do.
Yeah.
So
Is that a position that would interest you more down the road, where you're like in a leadership position?
it would not. I actually tried to start a team in 2018. And I did have 4 team members.
Okay.
It didn't end the way that was best for my business, and it was just not something that I or their businesses. So it wasn't something that.
Well, that becomes a little bit different at that point, because now you have to take time out to be the leader and the manager and run a business versus doing, if you love being out and being the realtor, then you'd have to take that time away from your passion. And sometimes you realize I'm not doing my passion. So why this isn't as fun as it used to be.
You nailed it on the head right there. I was like, I am spending so much time doing the things that aren't what I became successful doing. Like, this is a new thing for me to try to motivate somebody else. And that was my biggest thing. Like, a lot of real estate is a work ethic. It's not rocket science. You know what I mean? It's a work ethic. It's a sales business. So if you don't have the motivation to get up and work through that early difficult stage, me being on a billboard and a jumbotron doesn't help. Like, I don't have 1,000 leads coming in that I can just give you guys. You know what I mean? It wasn't. I was not ready to be that type of fruitful provider for a team. I was just an example they could follow. And it wasn't the best structure for me to have people under me.
Okay. So that has been your real estate career thus far. Yeah. 12 years, give or take. Now, a couple of points too that Paul brought up to me that, what aside from real estate was, you said you ended up top 40. Top 40 was it? Top 40 on the 30 on the 30. So those are
top 50. Yeah.
Those are one of your awards. Like, was there any other accolades in real estate you acclaimed over time, or any other awards like that?
Oh yeah. So that was a national award, but there's tons of like company awards and local awards that you can win. So the next most legitimate one in our profession likes to say is from Real Trends. That isn't all brokerages are included, and it's the sales that you do on the market that are published, and it talks about, or it's transparent on how many units you sold, how much volume you sold, this and that. So it's not just your own company and your own office kind of thing. So I think a couple of years I was like number 2 on individual agents in Delaware with the amount of units I sold. Last year I was number 6. I think this year
And how many units was that?
I was like 67 last year.
Wow.
Between 60 and 75.
Yeah.
Has been like the past 5 years of production. Ever since 2018, it's been between like 60 and 75 houses a year.
Wow.
So a lot of people that get to that level start teams.
Okay.
And that's the only reason I'm at the top of the list. My peers have people under them that they're coaching that are taking a lot of those leads and running with them, as opposed to me on nights and weekends.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's not as granular and great as it sounds.
No, but I mean, come on.
But I hate staying in one spot all day. So I don't mind being out in the streets showing houses. Like,
okay.
A lot of these leaders of teams don't have to go out on all the appointments anymore. So they're kind of in their office all day, which is great. And that's just one of the reasons I got out of architecture, so I could be out face to face with a lot of people.
Have you specialized in an area, a neighborhood, a zip code, or there's certain zip codes you go, that's too far to handle? Like, have you
so I
factored in distance?
All Newcastle County. I'm only licensed in Delaware. I used to be licensed in Pennsylvania, but
that's a whole different market.
Exactly. It was something that I wasn't the best realtor at. Like, it was acknowledged that I was green to, and if I told my clients I'm your best option, I was lying to them, and I did not enjoy that. Anything past Middletown, it's kind of just like you're spending hours going to that appointment back and forth when you could just refer that client and stay busy up here.
Right.
So I've definitely niched myself to Wilmington. But that just bleeds into all of Newcastle County, really. So, I never have to drive more than a half hour to one of my appointments. It's great.
There you go. Tell me a little bit about Failing Forward.
Failing Forward, wow.
Yeah.
So that came more in my investment realm more than the agency.
Because you do invest in real estate.
I do, yes.
So tell me about Failing Forward there.
I don't know how much I want to admit, but no, so it was this house actually. This was the biggest problem that snowballed all that Failing Forward. When I bought this house, it was 3 parcels, 3 addresses: 2001, 2003, and 2005 Shipley Road, and it had 3 parcels, like legally subdivided, had the legal descriptions and everything on the surveys when I purchased them. And then I went to the county to go get the 2 that had no houses on them to be buildable, and I went with PJ Bale, the builder. We went and sat in front of them, and they ended up saying, and by the way, before I purchased the house, I went to the land use department They sent a formal letter to my lender that said these are 3 buildable lots as long as they're outside the flood zone.
Hmm.
And at the time, the flood zone maps were changing, and I had to wait like 9 months from the time I purchased to the time that the maps changed and those lots became buildable. And then in that time when we're going there, the county said, this was misrecorded in 1978. It was only supposed to be 2 lots, not 3.
Oh.
And that doesn't mean because it's double the land, it's double the price. Like you can still only build 1 house, and that builder's only going to pay 1 lot's worth of price. So my equity was supposed to be $200,000 of the land.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately got cut to $100,000.
Oh.
So this is the first property I bought ever in my life. So I bought this in December 2017. And I was paying $3,600 a month in hard money. You know what hard money loans are?
Yes. Well, for the viewers.
High interest loans that last for 12 months that investors utilize to buy fixer-upper properties. And they provide the money to buy the property and the money to fix it up as long as the numbers are good enough. So we base that whole investment off of a valuation of $200,000 in land value added to the house. And then come to find out that it was only $100,000. And then when you try to refinance when that 12 months is over and you're still not building the house or subdivide or sold the land, it becomes really difficult if you don't have as much equity as you thought you had. So $3,600 a month on a shell of a house that I couldn't live in.
Mm-hmm.
My 3rd year in real estate was a very scary task, but to maintain that payment sucked me dry of a lot of things and money I could have put back into my business.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to give up. I knew this was my dream house. I saw myself having the backyard Olympics type events and stuff. And I was an egotistical guy. I wasn't going to let my first try fail, you know?
Yeah.
So I for 18 months, I paid $3,600 a month. Without living in this house before I could really like make moves on it.
Okay.
And title insurance didn't kick in on this because that's essentially what title insurance is for. If there's a problem with the recording.
Yeah. So that's a whole part I don't even want to get into. Okay. I hired the attorney that used to represent the land use department, Bill Rodunda, to sue the land use department with my title insurance company. And it just got to the point where it was like, I'm not going to win. How much money am I going to fork out before I try to argue with these title insurance companies when I just needed to spend time making my money so I could. Yeah.
Let's take the.
I wanted the house,
right?
You know, it wasn't an investment to me. It was my personal house.
You were going to make it work.
My dad's going to have to move into that assisted living community right there one day, and that was a huge motivation behind this. He's got MS, so he's going to be over there, and I wanted to be close when he was there.
Yeah. So tell me what exactly, just generally speaking, failing forward, what does that mean?
So the failure that I went through with what we just talked about exposed me to so many different things I didn't know before, people I didn't know before, resources I didn't have before, and needs that I never needed before. And all of those things have become seeds in my successful career. Like I've utilized all of the knowledge, the resources, the people, the equity and everything in a way that's benefited my career since then. And to be honest, the art of storytelling in my industry, in the real estate industry, you can monetize a failure if you tell that story the right way and earn the trust of people that are investing in real estate and see like, okay, this guy's messed up. He knows what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
I want to trust him and his recommendations and what he tells me not to do because he's messed up. So I was on social media getting the attention all through those failures. And I was transparent about them all, and people seemed to be receptive of it.
Yeah.
I was not embarrassed to show, like, yo, guys, I messed up. Like, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't.
Yeah.
The land use department emailed my lender. I thought that was good enough. I didn't have the official approval before I settled on the property. That's my bad. But
yeah. So one of the things you tell me, Arthur, is that there's no such thing as mistakes, only learning opportunities. That's one of the things that you tell me.
Great point. Kind of the same thing as failing forward. If you take that opportunity to learn and you actually grow with that lesson, You failed forward, right?
Yeah.
You know what?
Which makes me wonder, you guys, you guys both went to Sally's, you guys were both in college, and what I was having a discussion with someone over dinner yesterday was that, the person I'm seeing, she has a master's and everything, and I'm still going for my bachelor's, and she was telling how she relies on me on a lot of the really getting your hands dirty and just diving for it. Whereas she's more like hesitant because I feel like academia almost almost functions off the pass or fail system, which almost like instills like a fear factor in failing. So talk to me about that. Like, and either like you, but also Arthur, if you have any intake on that, does the system almost not encourage, the potential opportunity of failing?
Yes, and I was brainwashed to not realize it until I had that accident. But
Yeah.
the Salesianum education does not encourage you to go be an entrepreneur and fail and restart. It's an accolade based program, and don't get me wrong, like it's very well for a lot of people. You know what I mean? But I truly think that they discourage entrepreneurship by the way they go about the curriculum in Sally's and a lot of private schools. You know what I mean?
Tell me, what are your thoughts, Arthur?
Well, you definitely got into real estate from a different way that I ever got into. I never went down the road to become a realtor. But from the investment aspect, what I took from Sally's is you don't invest in what you can't afford. So, like, I've taken a hard money loan before, and not on my first property.
Big mistake.
So, because there's too many risks involved on that aspect of it. So it's about taking risk, but it's about taking educated risk, but also understand the difference between an investment and, other. I mean, when you're buying a house, it's investment. Your money can be tied up for an extended period of time. So you can't put money in that you can't afford to put up. So you have to make sure you have enough income to make that work. So I don't know how you did it with $3,600 a month of mortgage on your first property. I can only imagine what the interest rate was, but I would have been scared with
12%.
Yeah. So 12% on $3,600 a month.
That was interest only.
Right. Correct. No, it's interest only. So, I mean, my only advice on you on that would have been, I don't know if I would have taken that risk without having more cash to put into the game, just in case they have a safety net in case it failed.
Arthur, tell me, generally 100%. Speaking, though.
But did Sally teach you that risk assessment? I don't remember that risk assessment class. I wasn't in that.
I wasn't in the AP class.
Hold on. Here's one question I want to ask. What was your GPA?
3.7.
4.1. So how do you now remember that class?
I think he had a better curriculum. Okay, I wish I took that class. It was probably Mr. Horn's entrepreneurship class, and I never took it.
Oh, yeah.
I never took it.
So, but tell me.
Because it wasn't like encouraged. It was like the weird elective.
Well, we also had Mr.
Wait, Horn entrepreneurship? You guys had that at Sally's?
It was an elective.
No.
It was like,
really? Was it?
No. You're getting confused with the name of the college and the fact that the teacher's name was Horn. There's no relation.
Okay, no relation at all. Okay, I was because there's a UD program called the Horn Entrepreneurship.
Oh, no.
Okay, no relation.
That was just Mr. Horn.
Okay, just happy coincidence. That's a funny coincidence. But specifically,
just a teacher teaching entrepreneurship.
There you go. So specifically about failure, though, do you think the system discourages the potential opportunity of failure and what may come from it?
I mean, academically, definitely
entrepreneurship and failure in the corporate world. It doesn't discourage you from. When I answered that question, it was specifically towards entrepreneurship. I don't know what failure in the corporate world looks like or turns into.
Yeah, but you have some entrepreneurship experience, so tell me that.
I mean, when you're going into it from school, yes, school is discouraging Fs. They don't want you to fail. They want you to get A's, not Fs. But when you go through the school system, the people that get the straight A's aren't necessarily the ones that are running the Fortune 500 companies because they were able to get They knew how to work the system to get the A's. It's actually the B and C students that are running the largest companies.
Yeah.
And it's because they were able to think outside the box, but that's not what school wanted you to do. They wanted you to do it this way. And that's not necessarily the answer to be successful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think there should be a systematic change there,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on from that. And the last topic I want to close on is the Backyard Olympics.
Yes.
Tell me about that. Here, let me get
Something I'm very passionate about.
Yeah. So what exactly is the Backyard Olympics?
The Backyard Olympics is a networking event that I host, and it's the fundraiser for MS. MS has a cure for it that is not approved by the FDA or happening in America right now.
Tell me about MS. What exactly is MS?
MS is multiple sclerosis. It's a neurological disorder where patients lose the ability to use their limbs over time, and a bunch of other symptoms that I'm sure you've heard of. But my dad has MS. It's been something that he's been dealing with my whole life. It's been gradually getting worse, and it's a cause that's close to my heart because of that.
So, and when did you start up the project?
What was the first one? It was like right after COVID. So 2020 in the spring happened. The next year was my first year doing Backyard Olympics. And I honestly, one of the reasons it had a quick success, I think, was because it was right after quarantine stopped and people just all wanted to get out and come to a party. But
so what exactly happens in the Backyard Olympics?
Okay, great question. So other than a lot of fun, it's a 3-point contest, a home run derby with tennis balls and taped up bats, and a golf chipping contest where we have targets, which are tarps, combined with live music, food trucks, drinks. It's kind of a big outdoor barbecue, and we play adult sports while we're here.
Okay.
It's grown to have some carnival games and some other aspects for kids over the years, but those were the main 3 events. And the first Backyard Olympics only had 20 people at it. It was just my friends. Like we were just doing what we did as kids,
So the latest one, what was your attendance?
450 people.
Holy crap. 20 to 450 people.
Yes,
and is that all word of mouth, or are you putting your face in a billboard again?
No, I did actually get a billboard.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
We got a 30-day billboard one year. And honestly, billboards turn into years of social media marketing.
Really?
I just changed my cover photo to the 2018 billboard like last month. And I cannot tell you how many people were like, congratulations, love this. I was like, you guys already all saw this 6 years ago.
Wow.
And the one kid actually texted me and was like, hey, how much was that billboard you have on 202? I was like, that was 6 years ago. It's actually turned into a 10-year marketing campaign on social media.
I love that.
But it's like what Grant said, it's about the attention. And people see billboards and reason that registers a young guy on a billboard. They give attention to that.
Yeah, I could be remembering incorrectly here. I know he has a book called The Thank You Economy. Gary Vaynerchuk. Have you ever heard of him? I think he also came out with a book after that called The Attention Economy.
Oh wow!
So that might be. I don't know. Are you into reading at all?
Audiobooks.
Audiobooks might be one to look into.
I need to do audiobooks 1.5 speed. Like
yeah.
Dude, I don't read fast enough for my brain to stay.
Well, you said one of the keys in real estate was to have a short memory.
Shit.
So there you go.
Exactly. It's not my fault.
So all right, and then you also get sponsors at this event, right?
Yeah, very grateful.
How do you go about that?
To be honest, a lot of that is talking to people at other networking events in the real estate community.
Okay.
Real estate has so many affiliate businesses of people that want to be exposed to other real estate professionals. And I'm very fortunate to have a lot of real estate professionals come to my event. So all the law firms, the home inspection companies, the lenders, the title insurance companies, all those companies want a reason to have their company brand in front of 400 realtors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
makes sense. How can people find out about sponsoring the event?
So we do have a website. 4msmp.com. But the event, when it comes every spring, we do have a lot of signs. They all got QR codes. We put them up all around Wilmington. We run Facebook ads and everything. So, but please just reach out to me if you have any questions or any interest in sponsoring or coming or collaborating in any way. I'm always open to that. So,
What has been your favorite moment with the Backyard Olympics to date?
my favorite moment with Backyard Olympics was. This is tough. Seeing the enjoyment of people that were my colleagues, my professionals, my childhood friends, to authentically enjoy their time at my event to the point where they stayed until 2:00 in the morning.
Wow.
So this thing starts at 2 p.m.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and these guys were here till 2:00 in the morning, and like a lot of them were not my close friends, you know what I mean? But just that type of energy and authentic enjoyment for them to want to stay that late.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good when I do bring people together and they enjoy it more than just a stop by. You know what I mean?
When's the next one happening?
So we do have to take a year off. I have a baby coming in February and a wedding happening next year.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. But April 2026.
April 2026.
And I might move it to May. It's literally been raining the past 3 years on the day of the event. Still have 450 people out there though.
Yeah.
But we did the last Saturday in April, and it's just turned out to be a terrible weekend.
Yeah.
Weather-wise.
So May 2026. We'll keep a lookout.
Yeah. Yes.
We'll
please.
keep a lookout. We'll keep a
I want
we'll have
you guys
to come
to
out.
MC the event. Actually.
Hey, that'd be awesome.
I need you guys to interview all the people losing to me in the contest.
Okay. All right. Well, Shane, any parting words that you want the viewers or anybody that you might know that you might personally know that's listening to this that you would want to share with them?
I actually don't feel like I brought a lot of value to your audience, and I do want to try to bring more value. If the person that's watching this episode is looking for any real estate insight whatsoever, I would just say this. There is so much opportunity in the real estate space from my aspect, Arthur's aspect, or tons of other aspects that if it interests you at all, you can make money and you can be successful. Just have a more detailed conversation with how to find your niche. It doesn't have to be agents, doesn't have to be investing. There's just so much opportunity, and it's an amazing field that a lot of people get intimidated to go into. But the opportunities are definitely there.
Well, I, for one, would have to disagree. I think you've shared so many gold nuggets with everything you're saying. Yeah, no, not with your message just now. Yeah, screw your message, dude. I completely don't get the real thing. Screw that thing. Buy crypto now. No, but like you've shared so many gold nuggets throughout this recording that I think that once we clip it up and everything, you're going to be like, you know what? But you got to remember that we recorded it. We recorded it, right? All right. Well, Shane, where can people find you?
Instagram at Shane_Pezick_realtor. On Facebook, I am Shane Pezick _realtor. I am Shane M Pezick _realtor. They're both mine. So please get at me on social media. Please stop by my house, 2001 Shipley Road. We're always entertaining guests at Famous Shane's. If the garage is open, you're welcome to come. And just anywhere. See me out in Wilmington, say hello.
Shane,
riverfront.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey. Thank you for sharing your story and everything that has come with since. We can't wait to hang out with you outside of the podcast and definitely the next Olympics. But till next time, man. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, viewers. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on that notification bell so we could hear from many more great stories like that one of Shane. But till then, bye-bye.
Shout out Swayze, and I'm swimming.
Oh, there you go. Coming soon.